Hello, everyone, and welcome to Scrambled. Today, we're joined by Darren Saito, also known as Darren the Cuber, and he is a Rubik's brand ambassador, a content creator with almost 15,000 subscribers on YouTube, and a student at the University of Pennsylvania studying cognitive science. Darren, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So, my first question for you is how did you enter the cubing world?
Yeah, so I first started cubing in Thanksgiving break of like 2017 when I was in sixth grade.
Wow.
So I kind of like always wanted to like solve a Rubik's Cube, but I never could. So over break, I actually ordered a pair of Mings because I knew it was easier. And I spent like the whole week trying to learn it. And then I did, and then I got to show everyone at like Thanksgiving dinner. And then after that, I learned how to solve the 3 by 3. And then I saw you could go to competitions, so I went to those, and yeah, I'm still doing it today. So that's awesome.
Yeah. That's actually really funny because I started right around like October of my sixth grade.
Oh,
So you're
nice.
just like a few years ahead of me in that timeline.
Yeah.
So yeah. So what's actually your favorite event out of all the events you've picked up over the
Oh,
past couple of years?
I actually really like one-handed a lot. Yeah.
Okay. I did see your ranking for that was like the highest, I think, on your profile. So
Yeah, I think
what's your
so.
fastest one-handed solve?
I think in competition it's maybe 8.5 seconds.
Oh my God. Wow. That's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah. So, the way I came across you was on Instagram, and I saw that you'd made a Rubik's Cube mosaic of the Dean of Admissions at the University of Pennsylvania, and I thought that was really cool. And I saw some of the other mosaics you made, and so I just wanted to ask, how did you get into making Rubik's Cube mosaics? And I know you have a video on your channel describing how you make them, but I was just curious if you could maybe like briefly describe the process behind it as well.
Yeah, of course. So this whole like mosaic project started like a few years ago for my birthday.
Okay.
So like yeah, maybe like 2 years ago now, I really wanted to make this like giant Rubik's Cube mosaic because I know like I've seen people do it, but I've never had the chance to get like 600 cubes all at one place.
Yeah.
So I think then, huh, I think I made like my school's logo back then.
Okay.
And then yeah, for the U Penn one, I kind of like so I've done some mosaics before, and then I reached out to someone on like kind of the admissions team, but someone like not exactly Dean Sol, the dean of admissions, so we could surprise her.
Okay.
So yeah, so like one night, like after class, we kind of like snuck into their office, and the person we had in contact like made sure that she kind of like left the whole place so we could go in and sneak in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just made it overnight, and then we got to surprise her the next morning.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then, so what's kind of like the process behind it, like a rough kind of schematic for anyone watching who might be interested to getting into it? Because
Yeah.
I'll actually show something right here. I
Oh.
recently got into it a few weeks ago, so
Oh,
I
let's
made like this.
go.
It's like the GAN's 10 by 10 cube
Yeah, yeah.
version. I also wanted to ask like what your opinions are on like, the number of cubes to like make certain ones. I know,
Mm.
for example, if you want to make like, a really high detailed like face, for example, you made Bruno Mars. That one
Mhm.
was I think like 21 by 28, like 588
Yeah.
cubes or something around that line. I'm just curious, like, what kind of you'd recommend for people who are starting out.
Yeah. So how it all works is you kind of like first you have to get the number of cubes. So yeah, mine was like 21 by 28, which I think is 588 Rubik's cubes.
Yeah.
And then you take an image. So I take an image and I put it into a website, and the website just outputs a bunch of these like 3 by 3 grids,
Yeah.
and I just copy each of the 3 by 3s, all like 588.
Yeah.
Yeah, to answer your second question, yeah, the more cubes you go, the more like detailed you can get. So yeah, my 588 I think can do faces pretty well,
Hmm.
but I think if you crunch it down to like I know you have I think that's 10 by 10.
Yeah. So
That's
this is
not
like the GAN 10 by
as
10 one.
yeah, there's like not enough pixels to do a face. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I also wanted to ask, like, so the website you're talking about, I'll link that in the description, because I used the same website when I was planning out some of the bigger ones. What exact cube, like, would you recommend is for someone to buy, especially if they're buying a lot, right? Because one of the things with these like smaller cubes, like with the smaller mosaics, is that you can attach these to be bigger,
Yeah.
but these are like really small, so it takes a lot of time to actually get it into the right position. I think you mentioned that in your video as well. So I'm
Yeah.
curious, like, for someone who wants to make like a big mosaic, maybe like a face, for instance. What cube would you recommend that they buy?
Hmm. So I know I actually really like the GAN mosaics, and if you kind of have the budget, you can like attach multiple panels
Yeah,
together and like
yeah,
do I don't know, like I think each panel's 100, so you could do like 400.
yeah.
But for like the normal size, so the ones I got, I think were pretty cheap, maybe only like $2 or $2.50.
Oh, really? Okay. I
Um,
thought you got them from the Speed Cube shop from the
I
description on the
did.
video. Okay.
I
Yeah.
did.
I was trying to
Yeah, they
find the
had like
model of the cube, but I
yeah.
couldn't quite find it, I think.
I forgot. Yeah, I got it from like their bundle. Like they had like maybe a bundle of like 700 or 600 that I got.
Do you know what the
Um,
rough price estimate is on like that many cubes for someone? Like I might actually be interested
oh,
in buying
it's a
them.
lot.
Oh, really? Okay.
Um, it was like yeah, 2.5 times about 600 and then a little discount off of that.
Okay, so a
However
little
much
less
that
than
is.
1500.
Yeah, I think that's
Okay,
right.
I
Yeah.
see. Interesting. Yeah. That's cool. I mean, I think the mosaics are really fun because I actually I never really got into so I didn't realize how accessible it was to do. I always thought it was,
Mm.
you have to be really like into art to make these, but there's so many
Yeah.
websites out there that allow you to kind of put an image in and then spit it out and you just have to, turn the cubes and
Yeah, yeah.
put them all in the right spot. So, I think for the smaller ones it's definitely a painstaking process because that, you have to
Hmm.
turn all of them and they're not very easy to turn. But
Yeah,
maybe it's
definitely.
a little easier on the bigger ones, but there's also budget. So,
Hmm.
yeah, actually, funny enough, I also made my school logo with the mosaic
Oh,
a couple
nice.
days ago. So, and I run like the school website, so I put that logo, that mosaic on there.
Oh.
So it's actually pretty funny.
Oh, that's nice.
Um,
Nice.
so one of the things I saw on your channel is that you actually recently set the state record for the Massachusetts 3x3 average of I think 6.46 seconds, right? So first of all,
Yes.
congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I also hold the state record for Missouri, but it's
Oh,
8.1. So we're
nice.
not a very competitive state.
Oh,
But I was just curious. So, what tips do you have for people to improve in 3x3, especially for people who feel like they've kind of reached a barrier? Like I personally
hmm.
feel like I've been stuck at this, high seven, low eight barrier for a few years now. But there's also people who are stuck at other barriers. So I'm just curious what advice you have for them.
Yeah. I think one of the things I did to like get to like the next barrier was watch a lot of fast people solving. Like a lot of them will post like walkthrough solves or like just straight up like I don't know, like F2L or cubing tutorials. I think I learned a lot from those. And also doing a lot of like untimed solves, especially for F2L. I kind of sit down and like figure out maybe is this the way I should be solving this F2L pair or is there like a slightly better solution? And
Yeah.
then after you do those like slow untimed training sessions, it kind of gets like stuck into your brain. And then during the solve, you'll like do the right solutions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen a little bit of that with myself. I've actually recently been doing like a lot more solves where I kind of, think
Hmm.
about the F2L and whether or not I'm doing like the
Yeah.
most optimal. And so since I've been like I kind of didn't really improve for a really long time just because like I never really like trained specific parts. Like for example, I never really planned that much. And recently I've been
Hmm.
getting into that to try to improve. But I think what happened was a lot of bad habits were kind of ingrained deeply into my like muscle memory or just my mind. So doing the slow solves actually helped me a
Hmm.
lot. So I think that advice is actually really, really useful.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to ask about is just, I noticed like you have almost 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. So, and you've uploaded almost, I think, like 250 videos. So, do you have any advice for people like me who are just getting into this world of content creation
Hmm.
and want to, like tell stories and put stuff out there into the cubing world and kind of build like a base?
Yeah. I think one thing I recommend is just kind of like YOLOing it, just like putting out something.
Okay.
Like I know I really started making long form videos, I think. Oh yeah. So the first one I ever did was like me being really like vulnerable. I was
Oh,
like, kind of really scared to put it out, but it was like the story about me, how I actually quit cubing for like maybe a year and
okay.
then came back after it. So I was really like, it's a really like vulnerable story. So I was kind of scared to show it. But once I did, it's actually, I think, one of the most viewed long form videos on my channel. And
Wow.
then from there, I could like get the confidence to post more of my cubing stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do remember seeing the thumbnail for that. I didn't watch the video, but actually I might watch that now. You know what that reminds me
Yeah.
of actually? Like Alyssa Liu, like leaving the
Oh
figure
yeah, yeah,
skating
yeah, yeah.
world
It
and
is.
then
It's like
coming
actually
back
like
in.
that. Yeah,
That's actually pretty funny.
yeah.
So yeah. I've also noticed personally that I've gotten a lot better at 3x3 when I take like a month-long break,
Mhm.
for instance, and then get
Yeah.
get back. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about is so you're studying cognitive science at the University of Pennsylvania. So I'm curious, like, do you notice any parallels between cubing and like the puzzle world and kind of like attention in cognitive science, for
Mm.
instance?
Yeah, I think cubing is a lot related to my like we learn a lot about like cognition and like memory. Um, okay, I hope I get this right. But there's this concept called like neuroplasticity where you kind of like you you kind of like train your brain and like your different senses to adapt to like a new situation.
Hmm.
Like I know like violin players, they have like special like they've grown some muscles in their fingers like in their brain so they know how to like
Yeah,
match.
I think
Yeah.
scientists have seen like greater cortical innervation
Yeah,
towards
that,
like the
yeah.
areas like
Yeah.
corresponding. Yeah.
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 Yeah, I should know this better. I'm a
Okay.
cognitive
Yeah.
science student, but
Um,
yeah.
I did see that you on your Instagram you once made like a form for like a study on Rubik's cubes. I think you were
Oh
comparing.
yeah.
Could you talk about that a little bit? I was really intrigued by that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so that was like senior year of high school. I
Oh,
wanted to
wow.
do some sort of study, and of course I had to do it about cubing.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I was basically trying to figure out if cubing kind of gives you any like cognitive benefits. So
Okay.
I think I did send a survey of people to cube who were cubers and who were non-cubers, and then I must have had them play some sort of activity or something.
Okay, that's
Uh,
interesting. Yeah.
Maybe it was typing, I forget. Actually,
Okay.
so in the end, this is a good like scientific lesson. We found out from my results that like it didn't really help at all. So that could be just me like not doing the experiment well, or maybe cubing really doesn't have an effect. I don't know.
Hmm,
But it's a good
interesting.
lesson just like kind of like failing at this like study and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
kind of like I don't know, learning to like bounce back and make something like continuing the scientific process, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's very true because I'm also really interested in like the neuroscience field.
Mm.
So funny enough, I completely understand what you mean. I had to make it about Rubik's cubes because I actually recently just had a paper accepted for publication that used
Oh.
WCA data. So I looked at kind of trends in what time of day records are set, and then I found that in the middle of the day when you have like a circadian dip and your circadian rhythms
Oh.
naturally like cause you to be like sleepy, that the percent of attempts and like so like I was like an exposure rate. The rate of records per like attempts was a little lower during that time,
Oh wow.
especially for like the 4x4 event. You could see how there's like a little bit of a dip in
Mhm.
records at that time. So I
Oh
think
wow.
Rubik's cubes are always very interesting to include in research. And actually tomorrow I'm meeting with the physics professor who studies the aesthetics of mosaics. And I'm
Okay.
actually excited that we might be working on a project using Rubik's cube mosaics and kind of
Okay.
studying like the computational part of like the aesthetics, like what features of these are associated with how people perceive the mosaic. So for anyone out there who's into Rubik's cubes too, I think there's lots of directions you can take that.
Yeah.
As you described and as I think I just described, Rubik's cubes are always like really, really cool. So
Yeah.
yeah. What are your thoughts on kind of the future of cubing? Like what do you see like trends, like maybe not just in terms of like records or events, but maybe, what you're kind of feeling, because I know you're really involved in lots of things.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think cubing wise, like speed wise, I think we're always evolving. Like when
I mean, sub three recently. So,
yeah, sub three,
yeah.
like a few years ago, if you would ask me if we would have ever had a sub three, I would say probably like 20 years maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're always, I don't know, there's always somehow like crazy new young talent. Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
for the future, I'm sure there's always going to be like some fast people. We're going to always create some crazy new cubing methods. Yeah, somehow
Yeah.
always going to just keep getting faster and faster, but I don't really know how.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And for my final question, I was just curious, like, what are you hoping to kind of accomplish in the cubing world, whether it's, in content creation or just in, like a time goal over the next couple of years. So kind of once again, like, where do you see yourself kind of in the cubing world in the future?
Yeah. That's a good question. I actually feel like I've accomplished a lot of the things that I wanted to so far.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I've already done pretty well speed-wise, also like in my community and
Yeah.
hosting my own like Rubik's Cube club in high school,
Yeah.
and then also the content creation. Right now, I think I will just do whatever, I don't know, just do whatever my heart desires. Maybe if I feel like making a cubing video, maybe I'll do that, or maybe I don't know, coaching some people or getting faster. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually not too sure at this point, but I guess we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. You've definitely accomplished a lot in the queuing world from what
Yeah.
I can see online. So, yeah, on that note, do you have any advice for any cubers, like whether it's to me or just in general for any cubers who might be watching this episode,
Mhm.
from what you've gained over the past almost 10 years? Because I think next year will be 10 years of cubing for you, right? Because,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's interesting.
Oh wow.
So,
Oh, I'm old. Oh my God.
yeah, I know. I don't mean to make you sound old, but yeah,
Yeah, I guess some last advice, I just say to keep going. I know like yeah, we just talked about like all these crazy fast people are getting like sub 3, sub 4, and they're like half my age right now.
yeah.
But I think if you just like keep going, like keep cubing for the love of the game, the love for cubing, you'll definitely achieve the results you want. Like when I first started, like my only goal ever was to get a podium. Like that's all I wanted in
Oh,
life.
yeah.
Yeah, but I kind of just realized, I don't know. Instead of trying to get that podium, I was thinking more about just trying to break my PBs, like trying to learn new events. And I think that's the mindset that really helped me kind of achieve a lot of my keeping goals. So yeah,
Yeah.
don't give up.
Yeah, that's really powerful. One thing I might add real quick is I remember I used to be really obsessed with trying to be top 100 in the US, like back
Mhm.
when I was, maybe a freshman in high school a few years ago. And I get like pretty close, but it would be like slipping away. And at competitions, I would actually like do really bad compared to how I was doing at home because I'd be stressing myself out like, oh, I have to turn really fast. And you obviously know that like if you're gonna do a solve and you like go in with the mindset of I have to turn as fast as I can, like you're probably not gonna do as well compared to the mindset where like you're just like relaxed, you're gonna turn smoothly, you're gonna look ahead. And I just found a lot of value in being enthusiastic about it, and you don't have to be the fastest person to necessarily make a lot out of cubing in terms of like
Yeah.
especially with the projects I've done with cubing. I think they've been very fulfilling for me. So
Mhm.
I completely get the idea of don't give up. And yeah. On that note, Darren, thank you so much for joining me today. This is a really fun interview, and I hope that you guys gained some insights out of this as well.